Hi there. I know we've never met, but we're neighbors. You pass by my house all the time, and I've been meaning to introduce myself, but you always seem so busy that I didn't want to bother you. From where I live, I can see the whole town. So I see you walking on your way to work, or driving your children to school, or sitting on the porch drinking your coffee, reading the newspaper. You should come by sometime and enjoy the view and visit with me. Ah, you decided to come. I'm glad you stopped by for a visit. I'm upstairs, so just climb the 173 steps and we'll see you in a few minutes. By the way, my name is Carillon. While you are making the climb, I'll tell you a few things about me so you won't be shocked when you get here. I'm not like you because I'm not human. You see, I'm a musical instrument. Not just any musical instrument, mind you, but the largest and heaviest musical instrument in the world. Surely you've heard of me. What's that? You haven't heard of me? Well, in that case, I might have to tell you my story from the beginning. It all began with one bell. The making of a bell requires the making of a mold and pouring the liquid bronze into that mold at over 2,000 degrees. Bronze is a product of 80% copper and 20% tin, precious metals that come from deep within the earth. Once the metals combine into a liquid, they will not rust, deteriorate, or ever lose their tone. Once the bell is cast, its life begins. It is cleaned like all newborn babies and placed on a lathe and tuned precisely to give it the voice it will have for all its life. The bell is equipped with a clapper of the proper size, weight, and material to make it resonate when struck. The bell is then transported to its permanent home in a tower where it begins its work and service to the community. In the early days, everyone in town was needed to man the ropes to hoist the bell into the tower. The bell would be set up to swing to announce important events, to warn of danger or fire or attack by an enemy, to call people to work. It could also be rung in a stationary position to announce the hours of the day, or at a funeral service to toll the number of years a citizen had lived. The bell would swing again to summon people to worship and to celebrate events of local and national significance. As towns grew and flourished, they would add another swinging bell as a symbol of status. More than one swinging bell became known as a peal of bells. It became the pride and voice of the community. They would ring in different combinations for different announcements, and eventually they marked the quarter hours with a melody followed by the hour strike. They continued to add bells so that a few simple melodies could be played. These instruments were known as chimes, as they played simple single-note melodies that delighted the townspeople at social gatherings and market days. Then, 500 years ago in the Netherlands, 23 bells were installed in a tower and connected to a keyboard, making it not only possible to play simple melodies, but to play real music and harmonies. That is where I was born. That is when I was given the name Carillon. Ah, you made it. Now that you are here, why don't you catch your breath and let me show you around a bit. As you can see, I'm a keyboard instrument with pedals, and I am set up like any other type of keyboard instrument. These are my white keys. And these are my black keys. The same with the foot pedals. Here are the white keys. and the raised pedals are the black keys. The pedals play the largest bells and are also connected to the hand keys, so that they can be played with either the feet or the fists. Anyone who can play a piano can learn to play the carillon. And that child will someday make the carillon sound like this. It wasn't long before my family started to multiply and other carillons were created. And just as humans are needed to play me, there are humans that are needed to make me. They are called bell founders. I have some pictures of them. The work they do is extraordinary. They are more than foundry workers. They are artists that create the life of my children that will sing for centuries. Would you like to see some pictures of my children? It was overwhelming and flattering to realize that of all of the musical instruments, we were chosen as the voice of the most beautiful towers in the world, many that were built and designed specifically for us. We became the voice of churches like these two children that live in Michigan, and these other children that live in Pennsylvania. And here are some of my other children that live in cathedrals. Some of my children live in city hall towers, some in parks, and some in botanic gardens, and some live on college campuses. And like all children, they all have their own unique voice. You might wonder what makes each carillon sound different. Well, there are a number of factors: the shape of the bell, which we call the profile, the size of the bells, the material used for the clappers that ring the bells, and the acoustic conditions of the bell chamber in the tower. So all of my children have their own unmistakable voice. My babies have 23 bells. My medium-sized children have 35 bells, and the large ones have 47 bells or more. My largest child lives in New York City. He has 74 bells and weighs over 100 tons. The largest bell alone weighs over 20 tons. He has a twin sister who lives in Chicago, and her largest bell weighs 18 tons. I told them both that they should lose some weight. They didn't think that was funny at all. While we are here, let me show you how I work. It's very simple, actually. Each key is connected to one bell. When you depress the key, it is connected to the clapper by wires and transmission bars. And just like the piano, the force at which the key is depressed determines the volume of the note. So, like all instruments, I am capable of playing soft, loud, slow, or fast, depending on what the music requires. But I am not complete. I need one more important ingredient before I can make music for you. I need a player that makes my bells ring with fists and feet, but most importantly, I need their heart and soul to make music. I was created to make a distinctive sound, but only humans can make music for other humans. People who play me are called carillonists or carillonneurs, and sometimes bellmasters. But no matter what they are called, they all have the same thing in common. They are human, so they all make mistakes, and when they make mistakes on me, they make me sound bad. I used to see people looking up at me and cringing, and sometimes holding their ears like it was my fault. It got so bad one time that there was a special town meeting, where there were so many complaints that the townspeople wanted the bells to stop playing entirely. It was then that the bellmaster proposed that if he had another carillon keyboard that would sound the notes quietly on tuned metal bars, Then he could practice quietly indoors until the music was ready for the townspeople to hear on the carillon. His proposal was enthusiastically received, and the practice keyboard was ordered immediately. Now, do you see why practice keyboards are necessary? Fortunately for me, all of my carillons now have a practice keyboard for carillonneurs to rehearse before they play me. Did I mention that I have about 600 children throughout the world? And did I tell you that they all live in the most beautiful towers and that I am proud of all of them? And did I tell you that they live in Europe and Asia and North America, South America, the British Isles, Australia, New Zealand, and Africa? But like any parent, I do have a few, let me say, rebellious children. They didn't want to be in a tower. They didn't want to be like their brothers and sisters living in the same place. They wanted to travel and see the world. One even told me she wanted to go to Disney World, and sure enough, she did. They became my gypsy children, and I worried about them and who would take care of them. They didn't even want to play the same music as the rest of us, and a couple of them even started playing with other gypsy musicians along the way. I didn't like what they were doing at first, but I'm 500 years old, and like most humans, I don't like change either. But I was wrong about these rebellious children. They became traveling carillons and had new ideas about performing with other instruments. They created a different type of music and visit people that never heard of me or don't live near any of my other children. These traveling carillon children are roaming around Europe, Japan, and the United States. 2 of these gypsy children traveling around the United States are part of a musical act called Cast in Bronze. And they're played by a silent and masked character known as the Spirit of the Bells. I don't understand why he put on the mask and costume when he played, but eventually another traveling carillon was born, and he trained someone else to perform the show with the same costume and mask. There is one more child roaming about the United States, known as the Mobile Millennium Carillon. The Mobile Millennium Carillon, that I call Mo for short, travels extensively, ringing at community events, holiday gatherings, for weddings, parades, festivals, and other social events. I always worried about these gypsy children with no permanent home like the rest of us, but they are doing just fine, and they seem perfectly happy wherever they go. It makes me proud as a father to know that so many people support them. Much has happened in 500 years, and not all of it has been pleasant. I, too, have experienced disappointment and grief in my life. My life is often a direct reflection of the lives of humans that are responsible for me. When there is inadequate funding to provide a musician or care that is needed, my children become silent and sing no longer. There have been other dark times in my life when my children have been destroyed during military conflicts with an enemy. During those dark times, my sons and daughters were taken out of the tower, melted down, and recast into weapons of destruction. Imagine knowing that my children that were created to sing and bring joy to people were turned into killers. It was almost more than I could bear. It was more than my children could bear also. They fought back and refused to become killers. In each and every case where my children were removed from the tower, those that removed them were defeated. And while I was proud of my children because they were so valiant, they were gone forever, never to sing again. I cried for each and every one of them, and still do at times. As the years passed and the wars ended, the townspeople started to recover, to rebuild their cities and prosper once again. And my children that died in the war were slowly replaced by new children, and the empty, silent towers were slowly filling again with song. During the last 100 years, I've witnessed great progress. The bell founders had become more skilled at their craft, making the bells sound even better. My newer children had even more pleasant voices and a wider musical range than ever before. More complex music could be played, and carillon festivals and recital series were created. Soon the first carillon school was created in Mechelen, Belgium. Years later, another carillon school was created in the Netherlands. Then another in France. And one in Denmark. And now a carillon school in the United States known as the North American Carillon School. That is Carlo Van Guft. He is the director of the North American Carillon School. You will get to meet him when he's finished playing. Carlo, like many musicians, has a dream. His dream was to create the first and only carillon school in North America. The school is headquartered in Centralia, Illinois, but has satellite locations throughout the United States and Canada, where some of my children live and where students can learn to play. Some of North America's best carillon players have joined the faculty, making it even more convenient to learn to play me than ever before. Greetings, Carlo. Such a pleasure to see you again. Why was it important for you to create a carillon school in North America?
It was important for me to create the NACS, the North American Carillon School, mainly because the American carillon world is very well organized and very well structured. The only thing that I thought was missing was a carillon school, a centralized institution that provides carillon education and that takes care of the structure of the education. And it's my hope and my wish that the North American Carillon School will become this centralized carillon institution in North America that provides organized and structured carillon education. At this point we have 12 satellite locations around North America. I hope that we will be able to increase also the number of those satellite locations in order to offer more education, carillon education, to more people within North America. We are basically the troubadours or the minstrels of the past. The carillon plays for everyone, regardless of age, race, sex, religion, or creed. A carillon in a city or a community enhances the quality of life of that community. It displays cultural diversity and the appreciation of art and culture in that community. It also displays prosperity as it did in the 17th, 18th century in Europe. Furthermore, it serves as memorials for those people donating the bells. It can serve as a tribute to one single person or one single event. Or it can be a long-lasting reminder of a special moment in time.
Carillons throughout the world continue to play for market days, church services, weddings, funerals, and graduations. Throughout the world, there are carillon festivals, conventions, seminars, workshops, and summer recital series where visiting artists can perform on other carillons. And each year, one or more carillon children are born. But what makes me most proud are the things that people have said about me and my children over the years. Let me share a few of them with you.
The single most unique thing I've experienced in the performing arts. The music brought back wonderful memories and made me cry. I've never seen a musical instrument like the one playing in front of me, and the sound was electrifying. My son and I are both touched in a way that will influence the rest of our lives, and are blessed by you and your performances. I am sensitive to music, but never have been touched as this. The voices of the bells were so intense, so pervasive into the soul. Even now I am gripped by the passion of the performance. I was mesmerized. Beautiful music and the mystery of the player makes it even better. I know those bells are your heart and soul. I love to see you perform.
By passing my story on to others, you will help ensure that my song will continue to ring out forever, making the world a better place for the carillon and, most importantly, for mankind. I have so enjoyed our visit today, and it has been a privilege and an honor to talk with you, but alas, I must say goodbye for now. Please tell others to come visit me or any of my children, and please tell them my name is Carillon.